Welcome back to Hannity. So last night, Senator Ted Cruz had a victory in Wisconsin in that primary, leading some analysts to predict that the odds now of a contested convention are higher than ever. And if this happens come July, my next guest believes that Republican delegates should unite around Senator Ted Cruz and Donald Trump in order to lock out the establishment. Here now to explain, author of The Greatest Comeback, Patrick J. Buchanan. Sir, I totally and completely agree with you. The only problem I see at this moment in time, Cruz supporters hate Trump supporters, Trump supporters hate Cruz supporters, and what you're asking is that they do the right thing, and they will have the power to do that, won't they?
They will, but you're exactly right in the point you just made. Both of them have what they perceive as vital interests. They're not fond of each other, and each of them wants to be the nominee. So that might militate against their getting together. For example, Trump might say, look, I want to put something together that enables me to get the nomination on the first ballot, but if I don't get it there, I'm not going to get it, and I don't really care about Ted Cruz getting it if I don't. So you've got you have a partial commonality of interest between the two of them.
And what about Marco Rubio? Marco Rubio still has more delegates than John Kasich, who's still in the race.
I don't know whether he can trade, but I'll tell you, here's what I think is going to happen, and I think should happen. I think Trump should really focus. I agree with you. You know, give up the Twitter account, focus in on New York, try to get as many of those 95 delegates, keep winning right on up to that convention, go out there, go after the unbound delegates, and then go after the delegates that might be bound to other candidates or who can trade them, and Rubio might be in that particular game. And try to win this on the first ballot. Because I can tell you, Sean, I think if Trump doesn't win it on the first ballot, Trump doesn't win it. Because I think it breaks apart an awful lot of folks that are in the Trump camp now are there because they are pledged for one ballot or something like that. And once they're no longer pledged, they're gone.
All right, what about all of a sudden the newfound establishment love for Ted Cruz? Because we both know. Let's be real here. The establishment doesn't like Ted Cruz. They might have helped him in Wisconsin. Wasn't that more of an effort to just stop Trump? And wouldn't the establishment be just as happy to deny Trump and Cruz the nomination?
Sure. They're telling Cruz, why don't you go up there? You're going to get a big medal if you can go up there and take that hill, Ted. Yeah,
exactly. So are you seriously? Are they using Ted Cruz? Are they basically? Yeah.
They will be at the burial of Ted Cruz after he takes down Trump, if he takes down Trump. But Cruz is a smart guy. He has to know this. But I think I see signs that he clearly is moving toward the establishment now because I think he figures, look, they can't take Trump, and they may have to take me, so why don't they get together with me now? And if we can stop Trump on the first ballot, I get it on the second ballot, and you watch. And that I will do a deal with those folks, you know, to improve our conduct, et cetera, take certain things they want, certain things we want. I think that's the coalition.
So then the guy, assuming that the votes keep going pretty much proportionally the same way they're going, that would mean the guy that had the most states won, the most votes, the most delegates, they disenfranchise those voters. What happens to Trump voters? Are they going to just sit back and say, oh, okay, we'll support Ted, or are they going to get angry? I would vote they get angry.
Here's what I think, Sean. I think there is a real battle between Cruz and Trump, and everybody knows Cruz has run second. He's run a terrific race. He's won a lot of primaries and delegates, and Trump is ahead of him. I don't think there's a great walkout or reason for it if they come down to it and neither of them's got a majority, and eventually on the second ballot, Cruz emerges. If, however, they come walking in, the establishment does, and tries to take down Cruz and Trump and plant somebody from the establishment, after the rejection of the establishment is what this election is all about.
What if one of the candidates has a 300 or 400 delegate lead and then is denied the nomination?
Well, if he's got 300 or 400 lead,
but shy of 1237.
I think then Trump, it's up to Trump, the deal maker, to make the deal and go over the top. But if you're 400 behind, there's no doubt about it, there's going to be real anger, alienation, and people walking out of the party. If the guy they went in there for came in that far ahead in votes, states, you know, crowds, everything, and a plurality won.
Who do you think But, look, I don't think polls are that accurate, these hypothetical matchups. I mean, if you go by them, Kasich does the best right now. Who do you think, when push comes to shove, has the best chance of beating Hillary?
I thought it was, I would have said 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, Trump. For the reason that I felt Trump could win states like Michigan, and he could do well in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, on these economic nationalism issue, on the jobs going abroad, on Hillary and NAFTA and all of that. But there's been an awful lot happen in 3 weeks, which have driven his negatives up pretty high. So if you ask...
can he fix that?
Well, that's a key question. Can he fix that? We saw when he took off initially, nobody sort of wanted him, and all of a sudden, he did tremendously in raising himself up and reducing his negatives. But when they go up a second time, can you take them down a second time? That's really the $64,000
Well, you've been around this
here.
game a year or two. I mean, I would assume you have some knowledge about whether that can happen.
It can happen. I've seen Ronald Reagan was down 30 points or something like that during that year when he won that election with Carter. However, I remember Barry Goldwater was down 59 points. We did reduce it, Sean, to about 25.
Didn't actually work out the way you wanted, I know.
He was a great American, though.
Yeah. Listen, I hear what you're saying. All right, Pat Buchanan, I will say this. If they don't unite against the establishment, and the establishment is able to pull off some shenanigans, I would argue that you're going to see a lot of people pack up and walk for good. They're not coming back.
Let me suggest something, Sean. Go with Trump and Cruz as a ticket. As they set up the Boston Braves, spawn insane and pray for rain.
All right. Do you think that ticket would win?
I think that ticket would set the country on fire.
Wow.
I really do.
Do you think it's possible? I know voodoo economics, they put that aside, but can they put aside what's going on here?
Well, look, the attacks on it, they've been savage, and it seems very personal with them also.
Yeah.
And it's gratuitous and all, and it's very hurtful. And
all right, so who's going to be the VP? Would Cruz accept VP if he has less delegates?
Fewer delegates, but the thing is, the only way for Cruz to find out if he's got fewer delegates is if he can stop Trump from winning the nomination.
Yeah.
On the first ballot, in which case things break apart.
Yep.
And I don't see how Trump comes back if he loses the first ballot and people start moving toward him.
So who are they going to move towards?
Will be in there, everybody will be in there.
They would move toward, you predict they'd move towards Cruz?
Well, here's the thing. My prediction would be that Trump will move toward a Rubio or a Kasich if he's short on the first ballot.
And he'll make a deal? Or do you think they would say yes?
Yeah. I think Trump will have to make a deal.
You think
on the
Marco
first...
Rubio, who was called Little Marco, is going to go along with Mr. Trump?
Well, if he called me Little Pat, he gave me the vice presidency, maybe.
All right, we gotta go, Mr. You cracked me up in the Crossfire days. You're still cracking me up. All right, Pat Buchanan.